Hi, in this video, we shall be talking about the other factors of production, which are capital and entrepreneur. What is capital? Capital is anything made by man to be used in producing other goods and services. It is also wealth set aside for the production of more wealth. Examples of capital include buildings, machineries, cash, finished goods, and so on and so forth. The reward or cost of using capital is interest. Now let's look at some attributes or characteristics of capital. Number one, capital is an artificial factor of production. That is, anything made by man to be used in producing goods and services. And number two, it is variable in supply, meaning there is room for an additional capital in every business. If the initial capital is not enough, you can always add an extra to expand the business and keep the business moving. Another feature that we can look at is that its reward is interest. That is, the reward of using capital is interest. We mentioned that earlier, but it's also an attribute. Now, let's look at the various types of capital. Basically, we have three types of capital. They are fixed capital, circulating or liquid capital, and we have the social capital. Now, let's look at one after the other. The fixed capital. By fixed capital, we mean those durable items of a business used for the purpose of generating income. Examples include the building, the office building, the machinery, the equipment, the workmen tools, and so on and so forth. They are the durable items used in business. Another type of capital is the circulating or liquid capital. Now, the reason why we call it circulating or liquid capital is that they are those items that can easily be converted to cash within a short period of time. They usually change from one form to another in the production process. Now, we have three basic examples of liquid or circulating capital. Of course, it is very important to state here that the most liquid of the capital of the business is cash itself. Because since we said it can easily be converted into cash, so meaning that the most liquid is cash. So other examples are raw materials. Obviously, when raw material is worked on, it becomes finished goods. And when finished goods are taken to the market, it becomes money. So look at the cycle there. Raw materials changes to finished goods sold in the market and will earn money. So those are the three basic examples of circulating or liquid capital. Now we're on the third one, which is social capital. Now, social capital consists of those infrastructural facilities. The infrastructural facilities provided by the government to assist business organizations and to uplift the living standards of people. We don't ask, or we are not asking for too much from the government. Give us good roads. Give us stable electricity, not epileptic. Stable electricity, good communication networks, and so on and so forth. Schools, well-equipped schools. All these that I've mentioned now are examples of the social capital which are expected to be provided by the government. Now, those are the various types of capital: fixed, circulating or liquid, and social capital. Next, we shall be talking about the last factor of production, which is entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur, or rather, who is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is the risk taker or bearer in organizing a business. He is the factor of production that coordinates and organizes the other factors into a productive organ. Now, when I say the other factors, I mean land, labor, and capital. He puts them together, coordinates them, and organizes them into a productive organ in order to achieve the objectives of the organization. So the reward for an entrepreneur is profits or dividends. The main objective entrepreneurs go into business is to maximize profit. So on that note, we lay emphasis on the profit-making aspect of an entrepreneur. So the reward for an entrepreneur is profit or dividends. Now let's talk about some characteristics of an entrepreneur or features of an entrepreneur. Number one, an entrepreneur is a human factor of production because, of course, it's the human beings. So we're going to talk about entrepreneurs, talk about human beings. So it's a human factor of production. And next is entrepreneur as a factor has feelings. Since it's human, it's expected to have feelings. So when it's hot, he knows. When he's happy, he knows. Another attribute of an entrepreneur is risk taking. of bearing. Meaning that what? An entrepreneur bears the risk of putting his money, called initial capital, on a business, which is not sure whether it's going to multiply or it's going to diminish. So meaning that if the money multiplies, good for him. So that's the risk-bearing or risk-taking aspect of the attribute of an entrepreneur. Now let's look at some of the functions or roles played by an entrepreneur. First is risk-taking or risk-bearing. Even though it's an attribute, it's equally a key function of an entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur actually takes a major risk by putting a money outlay, some certain amount of money called capital, on a business. So it takes the risk of investing his resources into a business. Next is price taking. That is, it determines pricing policy. It takes the price or fixes the price on the product or service of the firm. Another function played by an entrepreneur is that he is responsible for management activities. Next again is that it coordinates the other factors of production to achieve the set goal of the organization. Those are some of the functions of an entrepreneur we have mentioned. That's all on factors of production. Next, we'll be looking at some questions from SSC and UTME on the factors of production.